always a pleasure when you get to talk to one of the greats, the all-time greats, one of the all-time legends. Without further adu, let's not keep him waiting anymore. There he is, Bas Rutten. Bas, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. We're still amazed here, Ariel. It's crazy. You might miss it, but it came right back, and all these numbers you mentioned right after another, and where it was, and 2 in February. And
yes, it is crazy. It is. I'm getting old though, Bas. I mean, these things. I can't say like a fighter that I've gotten punched in the head. I forget these things. It's just it's a fact of life, right? We get old. I mean, you're a grandfather now. For God's sakes, you look better than I'll ever look in my life.
Yeah, right. I got a light straight in my face and that's wearing some makeup. I got to be honest.
You look fantastic. So you're also a part of the Karate Combat team. You're not a sensei, if I have this correct. You're the analyst for it, right? Like you're a TV analyst for them, correct?
Yeah, like an analyst and the ambassador, bringing karate forward up the foreground. Just telling the good people at home what karate is all about.
What do you think about these fights? A little different than MMA, but there are some similarities with a little ground and pound, with the striking, with the gloves. How do you feel about what they've been doing in the first 3 seasons?
I think it's great. The first show I had was in Miami all the way back. The wall, the way they start using the wall right now to escape if somebody gets pushed in the corner, they just run out of the wall. We have seen kicks already jumping off the wall, like Superman punches. So I think they built a same kind of wall in their dojo so they can practice on it. And that's what you see now. And what I also love is the evolution. So in the beginning, we saw karatekas hitting one punch and a stop. It's almost like Darwin Spong when he was fighting for the World Series of Fighting. He knocked his opponent down and he walked back to his corner.
That's
and everybody goes, no, go back. Because they're so used to it. And here also they stop, but then the other guy just kept coming with combinations. You go, okay, so everybody start kickboxing on the side as well and boxing, to tie everything together.
I saw you posted a video, or actually it might have been Adam Kovacs, the president, who posted a video of you talking about the gloves. That's where I kind of first learned about the gloves, and you're glowing about them. You're very high on the gloves. Why is that?
Also, and even for MMA, we're talking about your hands are never really short, so that's really good. If they made the padding a little thinner, what you have with MMA gloves, you have also padding on the side. Now, we all know that I have freaky long fingers. I can go around the wrist, so that means my grip is pretty good always. If your wrist is half open, you see it's easier to escape out of a hold. Now, with the MMA gloves, you have so much leather in between, you just have a shorter grip. It shortens down your grip. So I think with the open hands, you just have these little things here. That makes it much better for grappling as well. You have to make them a little thinner then, of course, because otherwise it's going to be hard to slide underneath the jaw, for instance, for heel hooks or for rear naked chokes.
Yeah. Did you like the Pride gloves better than the ones that we see now in the UFC?
No, I liked them both. I thought the Pride ones were a little big, I always thought. And I think that UFC gloves don't have that. Trevor Whitman, he came up with a really freaking good glove. I hope they're going to take that direction because that glove looks really well.
You'd like to see a more curved glove?
Yeah. Listen, we talk about this in Pancras, right? We fought with our open hands. Now, you can go over the thousands of matches we had. How many people get poked in the eye? Nobody. And we fight with open hands.
Yeah.
So how that's even possible? You see, so I don't know. It's a mindset also in the training. They push people a lot of times away. That's just stuff you shouldn't do because you get poked in the eye. If you're John Jones, when you saw that, you go like, yeah, I understand there's a distance measure. But still, you're in control and you should watch out for that kind of stuff because coming off a win like that, and even if you poke an eye and the fight continues, you never really know if his vision is completely back because fighters.
Right.
Fighters, if they can't, they go, no, I'm good. They don't want to quit. They lie and then they continue to fight.
I'm happy we're talking to you today, Bas, because over the last few weeks on this show, I've been banging the drum about a few things. The first one I wanted to throw your way was this one. And you are the perfect guy to ask about this. I feel like MMA does a really poor job as a sport. I'm not, pointing the finger at one particular entity, if you will, but it's obvious, who the top dog is. We don't do a good enough job of honoring the past, of remembering people like you, of celebrating the legends, the pioneers, the founding fathers, the people that made this sport what it is today. For example, the UFC's anniversary is coming up next year. So next year will be 2023. It'll be 30-year anniversary of the UFC. I had the idea, like the NBA just did, where they brought out the 75 greatest players for their 75th anniversary. Bring out the 30 greatest fighters. Have people vote on it. Bring them out. Do something like that. They'll never do it. It's unfortunate.
Yep.
How do you feel about this? As one of those people that I'm talking about, like without you, there is no UFC that it is today. You're one of those guys. How do you feel about this?
Of course, it's for your own. It's always very nice, but it's very understandable, right? That's how it goes. It's with fighters also. You lose your last 2 or 3 fights, and suddenly you're not a great fighter anymore. That's people nowadays, and we all get wired because these stupid phones. Short-term expansion. You don't. Everything is getting shortened. So memories are getting shortened. And unfortunately for the old guys like us, it's getting shortened, But I always enjoy to talk to a guy like Bill Wallace and Benny the Jet and all these guys that really started the striking, for instance. And of course, Hoist Gracie and all these guys that we started in 93. I mean, I was talking about Pancras. Pancras started 2 months before the UFC, all the way back in Japan. I remember Ken Shamrock talking about the UFC and how excited he was. And you don't want to do this, he said. I said, no referee? Nobody's going to step in? I go, no, thank you. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, because there's crazy people. If I get knocked out and this guy decides to jump on top of me and hit me 5-6 more times in the face, that could be brain damage. I say, if there's a referee who pulls him off, hey, sign me up. But, I'm not that kind of guy I always talk about that who wants to die in the cage, Not me. I have a family, very happy life. Thank you. I like to live.
Did they ask you to be a part of UFC 1?
No, I didn't even hear about it. I didn't even know that Girard was doing it, Gordeau, and I know Girard.
Yeah.
So and then also when I saw that with the teeth flying into the audience next to I go like, okay, this is next level stuff. Ken Shamrock told a funny story about that because they were sitting in backstage and they still thought this was going to be a work. So at any moment now somebody would walk in and was going to say, okay, you're going to win, you're going to lose, you're going to win. That's what they still thought. There was this. They didn't know. It was too crazy. And then when Gerard Godot kicked the guy's teeth out, everybody in the dressing room went like, oh, it's real.
Yes.
That's when they realized this is a whole different level stuff. Yeah. I can imagine the adrenaline from everybody in the dressing room.
When you were competing, especially overseas, did anyone ever ask you to work a fight and you said no?
No, never. And you know what? I asked everybody. The only one I heard from who said it was Ken. Talked about that. But you ask any other fighter, and I asked all the fighters because once those rumors started, of course, I wanted to know. And I remember Chris Dolman in Holland, he said to me, there's going to come a time when they're probably going to ask you to lose. I said, Chris, then I'm going to stop. I said, why? I said, because I see these other guys who work for other organizations and they come back and they go, oh, I won. And then when they lose, they come back and they, I lost, but I had to lose. Yeah, but last time you had to win as well. I didn't ever want to be that guy. So then I remember that after my second fight, I got invited by, maybe it was even after the Funaki fight, my third fight, and I lost actually. And then Funaki Suzuki hired me and I go, okay, here we go. Asked me to come to have dinner. And the whole dinner went well, and I was waiting for that question. Nobody said anything. And I remember stepping back at the cab, and then I wanted to drive away. They were standing there to wave goodbye. I said, I told the cab driver, stop. One moment. I turned the window down. I said, come over here. I say, I thought you were going to ask me to lose. And he goes, I would never ask you that. That will never happen. I go, okay, thank you very much.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow, that is amazing. Let's say, there's a lot of new fans now, right? There's a lot of people who came into the sport, combat sports, whatever, that maybe haven't seen your fights. If someone wanted to see Bas Rutten's favorite fight from back, like your personal favorite of yourself that you were involved in, what would you recommend to them?
For both fights, they say is the best fight was Funaki, my rematch against Funaki. That was a slaughter. I mean, he came to me before the fight, really weird, got me out of character because he slit his throat right in front of me in the ring. And I got so aggressive. And I look at my manager. I go, you got to stay calm. I said, don't worry, I'll be calm. I said, boy, watch. If I have a moment and I'll hit him, I'm going to destroy this guy. And it happened, broke both cheekbones. His nose was broke. I mean, I had bruises on my hands and on my knees for kneeing him in the face. And every time I kneed him, he went down. He would get back up. And the whole audience started chanting for him. It was crazy, And I was starting to get tired because I threw everything I had. And then thankfully, the last knee, I remember grabbing him by the hair and then kneed him as hard as I could in the face. And that's when he stayed down. But that was a tough fight. I remember they raised my hands. And as soon as they said I was the winner, I fell back. I was so tired in that fight. But he showed the heart of a lion by standing up constantly. I mean, not like 4 times.
You ever go back and watch those fights? Like, when's the last time you watched any of those?
The last time I watched was a new highlight somebody made. They talked about my career, and I think he did a pretty good job. And that was, but it's so highlights,
okay.
And also what I'm doing now, I have that long training device that I invented for breathing, for your breathing muscles. And then also I use that fight. I said, because you see me breathing like this is completely wrong. Like that breathing is completely gone. Like you can literally get 5 times the amount of air in with 4 to 6 of these breaths are the same as one belly breath. So once you learn how to breathe correctly, I mean, your stamina just increases dramatically. So because of all those things that I did in fighting, like I used to do these weird things. I would do abs, and then I would put my friend put my back against me. He would hook the arms, and then would lean over, so I would stretch out. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew it would feel good and make me better to breathe. Now I understand why that is, because the more you can expand, the more you can fill up your lungs with air, right? And if you're very tight here, well, then you can't expand maximally. That means you can't fill up your lungs maximally. So I was stretching those muscles out. So somehow I got the right thing. I just didn't know what really was going on. And in fighting, like the Bas Rutten neck break, that was literally me stopping him from expanding his chest. Now, if you can't expand your chest, you can't breathe. Your lungs are just two bags. There's no muscle in the lung. You see, so all these things now that I picked from fighting, I show actually when I'm talking about breathing. And I say, here I stopped his chest from expanding. Here I did this. Here I did that. So that's kind of cool stuff. My second fight, when I timed, I was that tired that he just got me in an armbar. I got out of it, and I was throwing up before the fight. I wanted to stop, and I remember I didn't have a lot of energy, and I was standing in a guillotine position. I had him lean over, and I pulled his arm to the side, and I was looking at him breathing, and I saw him breathing in. And on the third time he breathed in, I gave him the knee, because then you can't flex your abs.
Wow.
And he went down like I shot him with a shotgun. But you see, now I didn't know that, and that's all to do with breathing. So all these examples I can now actually use to sell my product.
Wow. Why were you throwing up before that fight?
They let me travel. First of all, I come from Holland to go to America, to Japan. The jet lag is completely different from going America to Japan. So that means nighttime is daytime for you. That means all night, that 7 o'clock in the morning is 11 o'clock at night for you. That's where you normally go to sleep. So you lay in bed all day long, and then they let me travel. And it wasn't, they had to do it on purpose. I don't believe it if it's not. They let me travel 8 hours on the day of the fight. So 8 o'clock I wake up, slept maybe 1 hour. I had to carry all my luggage. We went to the Shinkansen, the bullet train, and we had to go to a different place. And it was a freaking nightmare. And then they said I couldn't go to my hotel room. That's where I put my foot down. I said, okay, I'm going to go to the hotel room. Otherwise, I'm not going to fight. I need to shower, and then I will come to the event also. At least they allowed me to do that, but my manager was carrying my bags. I mean, I was already throwing up. I was so sick.
Wow.
It was just the whole and everything together.
So they didn't ask you to work a fight, but they stacked the deck against you.
But that was one time. I'm a very fast learner. That happens one time, and then it's from that moment I said, if that one more time happens, I'm not going to fight. So now you put me in a hotel very close to the fight. Otherwise, I'm not going to fight. That was my next. Every time when something happens like that, I immediately make sure that will never happen again.
You also obviously grew, in popularity, notoriety with the videos that they recreated with Karate Combat. You and GSP, the barroom ones and whatnot. And I was thinking of you recently, Bas, because of this Commander Brown in Detroit, Michigan. You see this guy, the guy who teaches people about the guns, and he turns the guns and all that stuff. You know this guy? Have you seen these videos?
The not real guy, that one, right? With the black hair and
yes.
guy?
Well,
yeah,
yes.
Very funny.
What do you think of this guy? Because he says it's real.
You see, this is guys like that get people killed because they give them a false sense of security. Like, that's why I don't teach self-defense in my classes. Because I always give this example. Imagine I teach somebody a knife defense. Knives are really dangerous to defend, almost worse than a gun. A gun, if you're close by, you grab the barrel and then you know what to do, how to go with it, and all that stuff. It's actually easier to defend than a knife, like a cut on both sides, a switchblade. Because they can stab, they can come from above, they can come from all angles. So imagine I just teach a knife defense, and then a friend of the person that I taught it to is getting in trouble. Somebody pulls a knife and he goes like, hey, step back. I got it. I just thought that they just taught me this in class. And then he's going to get stabbed to death. You see, that's a problem. And that's the same with the gun defense. When a guy is sitting behind and then grabbing the gun, it's the dumbest. If there is no space behind you, you can never go for the gun. But the only thing they have to do is pull it out, and now they're going to shoot you in your head. If somebody stands in front of me and there's like a table in between, I'm not going to grab the gun, because if I have the gun, the only thing he needs to do is pull back. And there's a table, I cannot now. If there's no table, I can go with him. So as soon as he pulls, I just simply go with him. I keep the grip and I make sure that the barrel doesn't aim at me or somebody I love who's standing next by. But then at least if he pulls out, I simply go with him. I'm not going to hold still so he can pull out. I just go with him. You see, that all these little things you have to know. And it's like fighting. It looks real easy, and in dojo you're really good and everything works, but that's without stress. How many fighters do we have that are dojo fighters? We talk about this. Every fighter here I talk about this. They work circles around world champions, And then under pressure, they can perform. They can bring out what they can do without any pressure. And that is just fighting. Now imagine a weapon presents itself. I mean, even I going to go like shit. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of nervousness, and you better make everything perfect. But with self-defense, one of these things is, if there's a situation where you 100% are going to go, and I'm talking about this, if somebody is a mask and he shoots somebody and then he's asking you for your money, I give you my money, I'm not going to do anything. If the guy's not wearing a mask and he just shot somebody, now I'm the person who can point him out in court. Chances he's going to shoot me are freaking astronomically high. So now I'm going to have to do something. Yeah, but you're going to get shot. Well, not doing anything, you're going to get shot for sure. But by just trying to do something, and especially if you know what to do, you increase your chances immediately. So it's good to do, but you're going to have to do this 4 days a week. You're going to have to really work and grind it in, and you need a good teacher who knows exactly what he's teaching. And that's the problem when you look around with the knife and stick defenses. I mean, sometimes it's amazing how stupid people are, but people are people. They just believe whatever coaching they get. And that's unfortunate. That's very dangerous.
So all this stuff, nonsense that you see from this particular guy, you don't buy any of it.
No, listen, there's some things that he does, but he has no follow-ups. All the things that I said with the gun defense, holding his head at the same position, these are all wrong things to teach.
Okay.
So, he has to really watch out. Then you make those parodies. You see already these guys trying to do what he does, and then it goes wrong, and suddenly they're in heaven, right? These little Instagram
right. Yeah.
And that's just really how it is. That's really how it is. People think really fast. They watch a Rocky movie. They think that Rocky is the world champion. And I can do that because that's how easy it is. I heard actors who said, I'm just going to watch movies to learn how to act. I go, oh, that's easy. So if I want to learn judo, I'm just going to watch the world championships, and now I can play judo. I mean, it's stupid to think about, but this is how people are. They learn something, or they see something that's even worse on YouTube, and I can do that, and then you get killed.
By the way, does any fighter out there, do they ever ask you to coach them? Have you gotten these requests lately?
Oh, yeah, I do have it. Sometimes, but the thing with me is also I would love to. GSP was just talking about, I wish that I made a decision to come and train with you as well, because we go over a whole bunch of techniques that we're doing.
Yeah.
And just a complete different approach. And to me, it's, of course, because I'm a little biased, I think like an open stance, like wide open, square stance open. I think it's the best stance to have. And everybody says, oh, you're going to get the target, that people are going to knock you out to the body. Well, all the fighters I know that fight like that never went down with a body shot. So it's not really saying, but the powers that you get in return, if I stand blading, I don't have power in my jab, and on my left arm, my left kicks, everything slows down. If I stand wide, I got a straight punch. This is going to knock you out. A jab, I eat a double jab. I eat it in order to counter it with an overhand right. But if somebody stands square like Mike Tyson and he starts punching with a jab, which becomes a straight punch, now you need to block or defend that punch. So what happens then, as soon as you defend, you build yourself some more time to follow it up with other punches. But just jabbing out and kicking light, it never worked with me. Fighting is very basic, I always say. You hit somebody really freaking hard in the head a couple of times, guess what the head's going to do? They're going to go up. And then you attack the body. And that works vice versa as well. So you hit the body really hard, but not like they do body, head, body, head. That's not going to work. They need to respect the body shots. If you go body, and then go for the head, watch it work, because now you force them to block it, and the defense goes, that's the shot. But if you go body, why would they block that stupid punch? Because it doesn't have any power on it anyway. You see, so all these things, once you break it down, which I did in fighting, I truly believe there's nothing you can say about my fighting style that I cannot defend, because I just lived and breathed it all day long. It's still what I do. If I shadow box, I think about footwork. This is the only thing I do constantly. It can never be perfect. It can always be better. That's why I thought.
So why don't you coach anyone now? No time?
That's the thing. If I want to commit, it should be a big fighter so I can make some money, because if once I have to go 2.5 months and I have to do twice a day, that's going to take a lot of time from me. And for $20,000, that for me is simply not going to work, because I have a lot of other business.
Sure. Was the last one that you really committed to, was that Kimbo?
That was Kimbo, yeah. Wow. And even there already, I put my boxing coach from my gym, my partner, I put him there. I said, okay, I'm going to train him in the morning, and you take him in the afternoon, because I was already very busy with Japan. I was traveling back and forth like 12 times a year, especially when Bushido came, right? It was every month. It was a show. So I needed somebody to work with him. And Sean Tompkins, I had him work with Kimbo first because I was like 3 weeks in Japan. I said, work with Sean. And then from there, because he does the same what I do,
Right.
it's the same coach, the same as going to Dwayne, and then from there on, I will take it over.
What a career. Always great to talk to you, Bas. I mean, I feel like you could do this for hours. You could just tell these stories, and I want more people to remember the likes of Bas Rutten and to respect you guys, and that we celebrate you. That you're like, when's the last time you were at a UFC event in the front row, treated like a legend, like the legend that you are? When's the last time that happened?
It was fight week when I helped inducting Kevin Randleman. Right. I was there, and
so
it was nice.
It was nice, right?
Yeah, it was last year.
Oh, September, right?
September, yeah.
And prior to that, prior to that,
oh, been a while. Those events are very busy for me.
Yeah.
And what you do need as a fighter, as a fighter who's known, at those events you need to sit in the front and you need to make sure, because once you walk through the normal people, I'm the guy. If somebody makes a picture, of course I'm going to make a picture, and then it's off.
Right.
And it's very hard to go somewhere because then everybody's coming, of course.
Sure.
And although that's really cool, if you want to see a fight, it's going to be very hard to say no to these people. And guess what? If you say no, or when you're eating in a restaurant and people come asking for pictures and you say no, I'm the bad guy somehow. Right.
Yeah.
While I'm sitting there with my family. So, and I understand it because that's simply how fans are. I would do it if I would see Bruce Lee, right? I would go, I'm very sorry. Actually, no, I would wait outside till he's done eating, and then I would wait for it.
Good advice. Good luck to you and the team at Karate Combat. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Bas. Thank you so much. All the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And by the way, sensei, translated, means he who has gone before. And then for the sensei, it's the duty to whatever he learned to pay that forward.
I love that.
That's Dwayne Ludwig right there.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you for that, Bas. There he is, the legend himself. Learn about these men, appreciate them,